Welcome in to a very special edition of Extreme Talk presented by Complete Real Estate, where experience and integrity matters. We want to give them a big thank you for sponsoring the show all season long. Want to give a big thank you to Sudden Pools LLC for sponsoring our interviews all season long, whether it be on the phone or here in person. And we'd also like to give a big thank you to Fairlife Core Power Protein for helping us recognize athletes every single week. Able to pick, all throughout the season, we were able to pick an extreme offensive and defensive player of the week. So it was really, really cool. So big thank you to those three. And a big thank you to the NHSA and the St. Dennis family for hosting us here in Panama City Beach, Florida for the tournament this year. Now this Sunday, we'll have a regular episode of Extreme Talk right here on our YouTube channel. And we will recap the games. We'll recap the whole tournament. We'll also recap some of the playoff and championship games that were played last night and tonight in different states. Another champion was crowned last night. There's 3 championship games tonight, I think, and then several playoff games. So we'll talk about that on Sunday, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. But without further ado, I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time. Obviously, the results of yesterday's game, I'm going to pull them up because I've slept since then. Not a lot, but a little bit. I want to get the scores correct. That's the biggest thing. So, first game of the day, you had the Southern Christian Patriots, 34-0 over the Coastal Hurricanes. Game 2, you had River Oak School 54, Southern Prep Academy 30. 54-30 was the score there. Freedom Cowboys 58, East Central Patriots 48, and then the main event, the last game of the night, PAC Panthers 30, Tennessee Heat 23. Great group of games yesterday, and it sets us up for some good football tomorrow. Now you're going to have the Division II consolation game at 10 a.m. You're going to have the Division I consolation game at 1 p.m. Division II championship at 4, and Division I championship at 7. So. And you'll be able to watch all those right here on 8-Man Extreme. And by the way, a shout out to all, I think we've got 5,600 views off of from yesterday, and people still watching games. Numbers still coming in. So a big thank you to everyone who tuned in for that. But without further ado, I'd like to welcome the 2 coaches that are going to be playing for the Division II championship tomorrow. Coach Jason Scott from the Southern Christian Patriots, Coach Bo Barton from River Oak School, and then Coach Scott brought Jacker Scott, Coach Barton brought his quarterback, so I would like to welcome them to the stage right now. Come on up, guys. Coach Barton, if you want to set up shop over here. Coach Scott, if you want to set up sharp. Yeah, I can't talk. Yep, you can go coach right here, player right there. If you guys want to turn your mics on real quick. There's a switch right there. Yep. Just switch it on. All right. So, I'm going to start with you, Coach Scott. Obviously, coming out of the ACSC, 3rd seed team in the playoffs this year. Easily the best season the Southern Christians had so far. A lot of talent, some tough losses, but also some big wins. I want to get you to talk about those wins because you guys – you've beat the number 1 team in another conference. You beat the number 2 team in another conference in Alabama. What does it say to the level of competition that you guys have to go throughout the season that, you know, you become battle-tested enough to where you can beat good teams from other conferences?
Yeah, we're kind of
good.
You got me here?
Theodore, we're good on the mic?
Okay, we're kind of one of the things that we say. I think Coach Tim has been the guy that said it the most, more than anybody. But we feel like we're the SEC of Alabama, you know, small conference teams.
Yeah.
There are several other conferences in Alabama, but we feel like, you know, we've got physical. Physically, we're going to be tough, and that's kind of, you know, the coin to the realm in the ACSC. You got to be very physical. You know you're going to face Evangel at some point in the season. The other teams are no joke either. Lighthouse Warriors are incredibly tough.
Even this year, having a little bit of a down year, they were still somebody you had to watch.
That's right, because Coach JJ is still there, and he's always going to have those guys very physical, very, you know, tough to deal with. And the other conferences, I'm not taking anything away from any of those other conferences. I just am I'm very biased about ours. I feel like
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I feel like we've got a great conference. I feel like we're strong. We compete with all the other guys in the other conferences. And like you said, we had those games were early in the season, and I was actually kind of wondering how our early season was going to be. Very happy facing Jacksonville. I'm watching Jacksonville warm up. I know I'm looking at one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. Yeah. This kid looks like he's throwing 80 miles an hour, passes just warming up. And I tell my defensive coach, I'm like, we're in for a long day, man. We are here for a long day because he is an incredible athlete, as you've seen. Yep. And so the defense is the game that we love. We spend a lot more time on defense than we do anything else. Defense wins ball games, so we focus on that, and we like to be very physical in our practices.
Coach Barton, let me ask you, I think a lot of people underestimate Mississippi and Louisiana and Arkansas 8-man football, but the MAIS where you guys come out of and play out of, there's some really good teams, some really good athletes, as evidenced by the playoffs and the way that they've gone so far. I wanted to get you to talk about the competition level a little bit. Obviously, you guys were able to handle the teams that you played, but there's got to be a lot of preparation that goes into that to make sure that you guys can handle business, because any given Friday, anything can happen.
Yes, sir, no doubt. We feel good about the competition we played. We've been fortunate enough to watch Southern Christian play, and they've got a whole lot of talent. We're extremely well coached, as well as everybody else we've seen down here. And we're excited about the opportunity to put ourselves against them and, look forward to the matchup tomorrow. And we know it's going to be a physical, hard-fought game.
And Coach Barton, obviously the first game against Southern Prep, first-time matchup, just kind of going off of film. This matchup with Southern Christian, kind of the same way, but you got to see, you get to see them a little bit in person. What are some of the give me two keys when you're preparing to play somebody for the first time and how you prepare for that game?
Well, just like Coach spoke, playing some of the teams he's played, like Evangel and Lighthouse and teams like that, they're well prepared. You're not going to shock them with talent. And, so obviously we look at what they do. They're very good defensively, very good offensively in what they do, very physical. And so, we've got to try to match that and do everything we can to get them off the field and get our offense back on the field and try to score, because they do a really good job.
Yeah. Coach Scott, let me ask you, coming off a game like yesterday where you guys took care of business, pitched a shutout, were able to put a good amount of points on the board, how do you manage your guys coming out of a game like that, going into a game where it's another team that handled business and you got to see it? How do you manage your guys on on an off day like today, or just getting ready for the game tomorrow?
So yeah, that's keeping it real, right? I mean, the guys that we did get to watch a portion of you guys' game, and incredibly talented team. Not just the big guy. I know everybody wants to talk about the big guy, but the offensive line, the defensive line, those guys they're quick and they're tough. And I'm an old line coach for 20 years, so I don't know why. It's like, I always see the offensive line. I don't pay a lot of attention to the rest of it. And so very impressed with the skill level of those guys and the toughness. We're in for a long game. It's going to be hard fought. They score a lot. I think we're not that big of a super scoring team like the points that they put up. So our defense is going to have to step in. They're going to have to really control and limit the amount of time that his offense is on the field. I think that's going to be the key for us. But it is tough coming off of a big win like that yesterday, keeping the guys in check, because it's easy for young men to get outside of that and not understand that every time they step on that field, they have to prove themselves, no matter who it is, whether it's the Mustangs or the Lightning. These guys come to play, so we got to be ready for them.
Jagger, let me ask you, obviously you got to see a little bit of River Oaks game and the way that they play. Have you mentally prepared yourself to just get clobbered by number 51 at some point tomorrow? Or just any of the guys, because obviously they've got a very hard-hitting team. So how are you preparing physically for that? And is it any different than you get ready during the season, preparation during the season, or is it kind of the same?
Right. Well, yes, sir. I mean, being here in Florida. It's just a big stage, and there's a lot to compete with. And of course, the teams are going to be better. You know, the teams are going to be a lot harder, more physical.
Do me a favor, hold the mic, like
Right here?
aim it towards your mouth. Yep.
Closer?
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, and like these coaches are saying, this stage that we're on and these teams that we're playing, they're going to be tough, but we're tough too. And we came to play, and we've got some good players. They've got number 51. I mean, he's huge. They've got some other key players, but we're ready for him. And he's a big guy, so we're probably going to try and go away from him. But we got a game plan. We've got it set pretty well, and we can adjust pretty well, so we're pretty confident.
I want to give you a chance to give your boys, earn some brownie points with your boys. I want you to hype up your guys. I want you to give me, talk about your guys a little bit, because obviously as one of the leaders on the team,
Yes, sir.
you see the growth in the guys on the team. I want you to talk about your guys a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So our line has really stepped up this year. Past few years we've had some trouble with the line, but this year we've got some new coaches in. We've been working hard, putting in a lot of work in the off season with the guys, and we've had some new guys come in, and we're proud of that. And then we've had some skill players come in from different schools that we've been working really hard on. Just all that hard work has been paying off so far. So I know Elliott, number 44, he's one of our really good offensive tackles, and we throw him in on defense every once in a while, make some havoc, Dallas, 55, they're all just, we've got a great team to work with, and we've got a solid group of guys. We've got a pretty decent secondary too. I can't complain, I trust them to drop in and give us a few plays to take a break or whatever, but we're a hard team, and we're conditioned pretty well, so we don't come off the field a lot. I know they like to sub a little bit, and we do too, but we're in for a matchup for sure.
There you go. Fair enough.
Yes, sir.
Well, Jaden, let me ask you, you guys hadn't been able to play a game in 4 weeks. You come out yesterday. First off, how excited were you guys to get on the field and hit somebody wearing a different helmet? But then the other part of it is were there any nerves in terms of, have we stayed prepared enough to come into a game like this and handle business?
Yes, sir. Getting back on the field was definitely exciting for the first time in a couple of weeks. But I think we was pretty well prepared, maybe in a little nerves here and there, but I don't think there was a lot. We practiced without knowing what we was going to do next. We practiced until we played.
I want to give you a chance to talk about your guys a little bit as the quarterback, as the leader. Want to give you a chance to talk about your guys a little bit.
Yes, sir. We got a great group of guys this year. We got a couple transfers. This is my first year there at quarterback. We got good receivers, throw the ball up, give them a chance to catch the ball, let them make their plays. We got a great offensive line, like really good blocks. They give me time in the pocket to throw the ball where I need to. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to come and compete in Panama.
Absolutely. Coach Barton, let me ask you, getting the chance to come down here for the first time, obviously the situation leading into it, maybe not ideal, but you got the opportunity to come down. How huge was it to have the support of your school, the administration, and even the association, to have all that support to come here and compete and give these young men a couple more games? So you got a lot of seniors, a couple more games in their career to kind of end the season in their career on a high note.
It was very exciting for us as a school, as a community. We brought a lot of people from 8 hours away, and so everybody's really excited about it. The competition here is awful good, and like the young man said, you knew it was going to be when you get here. You don't come to Panama City and not be a good football team. Yeah. So we know what's
it's
here.
an invitational tournament
Yes,
for a reason.
So we're excited about that, and it's kind of fun playing people that you didn't even know that this team existed 2 weeks ago. And to watch these young men perform on the field and watch ours perform against them is, even though you're in the moment coaching, it's like it's fun because you're getting to see that from different states and different areas. And I know you've had people from all over play in this tournament before, so it's just an awesome experience for us, and we're excited about it. And I told some of the boys earlier, you never know, you may meet a friend on that field that you go to college with somewhere. And you may have that in common, and you may wind up being long-term friends the rest of your life. You never know what God has got planned in that situation.
Well, and that's the thing about 8-man is 90% of the guys playing 8-man are in the same boat. It's the same situation. Small school, small team. Some people have to rent a field, not have a locker room. It's all the same challenges that you go through, and when young men can connect like that, that's really special. I want to ask you, who were some of the biggest influences on you with your coaching as you were coming up through coaching, and what's some of the best advice that you got?
I've been very fortunate in my 33 years. Hall of Fame coach in Louisiana by the name of Raymond Gambino. I got to work under Ray for 2 years.
That's a solid name.
Yes, sir.
That's a solid
very
name.
solid name. And got to work under him for 2 years, and I'd probably say he is the reason that I coach. And he has mentored me over the years, and I've got to coach with some really good guys during my career and been able to learn and borrow. And, back in the day, we used to go to coaching clinics.
Yeah.
And now you can get on Huddle or you can get on YouTube and you can see a lot of stuff and learn. But back in the day, boy, I miss those days because all the coaches would be together at some clinic somewhere in Panama or somewhere, and we would all sit down and laugh and talk and share. And so I've had a lot of influences in my life, but Coach Gambino is probably number one.
What's some of the best advice you got?
Coach Gambino used to say that you can't fool the kids. You have to be who you are. And I learned a lot from that. But probably the best advice I ever got as an educator, I went to a little conference thing, and there was a little old lady standing up there about 5'3", and I'm sitting there thinking, what can I get from this woman today? Yeah. And I don't know what all she said, but at the end she said, they don't care what you know until they know that you care. And if you can't reach them, then you can't teach them. And I've tried to pattern my philosophy out there. I love my kids. I feel like I can get on them probably harder than most people can get on them, and they still know I love them. So that's what it's all about for us.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Coach Scott, let me ask you, obviously in this tournament, there's a history. Evangel, Ezekiel having come down. They played each other for a championship. There's a lot of history coming out of that conference down here in Florida, and you guys are the newest team from the conference. I mean, East Central's here. You guys are here. New blood from the ACSC down here in the tournament. Were you able to talk to Coach Smith, maybe even Coach Hunter Wilson, about playing in the tournament, maybe get some tips, and what are some of the things that he told you?
So I did. Of course, Tim was the first guy I thought to call. He's got the experience, but as far as a mentor, he's really the best one I've had in a long time. He always answers the phone. He always takes time to answer my silly questions. And I'm very thankful for the relationship that I have with him. He did talk to me about, some of the do's and don'ts down here. And I actually talked to the Ezekiel athletic director, David Lawrence.
Okay.
And at the championship game, and he gave me a bunch of pointers about, some of the stuff down here just to avoid. And so we've been trying to keep the boys on track, trying to keep them from being too foolish. I mean, they're young guys. They're going to do crazy stuff. But
It's the end of the year.
yeah, I mean, this is it, right? I mean, this is the last bash, right? So, but we're trying to keep a lid on it, and let them have lots of fun. And, we want them to have this experience to take with them, for the rest of their life and tell their grandkids about coming to Panama City and playing ball. So, yeah, so we're 5 years old. This is our 5th year, and we've heard about this from a bunch of different guys. And so far, it's been an incredible experience. You guys are doing just an outstanding job. We're getting so much.
Shucks.
We're getting so much input from back home. The guys, all the people back home watching on the 8-Man Extreme YouTube channel. Man, it's been an awesome experience.
Well, I appreciate that. And off camera, I want to give a shout out to Will, Eleanor, Alex, and Theodore in the back. Eli's here as well. Kate's around here somewhere. Spencer is visiting some friends. So big shout out to everybody. They're doing a great job on this. Coach, let me ask you the same question. Who was the biggest influence on you as a coach, as you're coming up in coaching, and what's some of the best advice they gave you?
Yeah, so this one's really easy. My dad. My dad was a big football guy. He played at Warrior, played, 11-man football. Still had a huge scar where he caught a cleat right up through here. Guy stomped his face, and just loved the game. Just the brutality of the game sometimes. And he's an old Marine, and so Dad was very influential in me playing football, and then eventually getting into coaching. It was really the Lord. I mean, we had my oldest son now, Judson, is 31 years old, and we didn't have a lot of options because we homeschooled, and so back then, 15 years ago, there weren't a lot of options, and so we were looking for a place, and we found a place to play. But I wanted to be there. I wanted to be part of what he was doing. So we started going to those coaching clinics over at Auburn University, and got a lot of tutelage under Auburn University's offensive line, Coach Grimes over there at the time, and really enjoyed speaking with him. He took I don't know why, he took like 20 minutes out of his day during his lunch and found me and spent some time with me, just pouring into me. So I'm very thankful for Coach Grimes. And overall, it's Dad. And the lesson that I can take, and I've always taken, I've passed this one on to my kids even, and it's silly, but in what we do, it's very important. And that is, if you start something, you will finish it. You don't get in a tough season and decide to quit. You don't get in a great season and decide that you're going to do something else. Because a lot of these sports, they cross over. So you got guys that are always wanting to do something else. So he always taught me, and I hated that sometimes. I played Little League baseball. I got hit 5 times in one game, and I wanted to quit. I was crying to my mom. I wanted to quit so bad, but he's like, "No, you're going to finish this season because you started it. You finish it." So it was Dad.
Jagger, let me ask you, looking back at the season, I want you to talk about the highest moment for you, the most excited maybe that you were, and then I want you to talk about the lowest moment that you had, and kind of break both of those down for me.
Okay, yeah. So, highest moment, coming into the season, we got that early win, and that was really exciting, just getting in there, and we just took care of business, and we knew who they were, and we came in, we played hard, and got that victory, and we got the momentum going for our whole season in that first game. It really set the tone for our season, and that was really a highlight for sure. Just coming in there and being able to do what we're supposed to do and carrying it over the next game and the next one. And we had some places we fell short in some of the games. We just maybe got distracted or didn't perform very well, but all those things we learned from them, and we're moving forward now, and we're here at the national championship, so it's really exciting. I know us and East Central have been going at it for a while now. We got started about the same time, and we had
At some point, y'all are going to have to sort out who's the Patriots, and the other one's going to have to change the name.
Yeah. Well, we're like a big family pretty much. I mean, families fight every once in a while, and we fight all the time, so it's all right. But we had a really close game with them this year. Coming in, we lost by 1 point. We had some missed field goal and 2 missed extra points, which all 3 of those were me, so it's okay. They can't blame the guys, just moving forward. But that was a really low point. We had a lot of emotions that night, and of course a long drive back to like 3 hours for some of the guys. And it was a lot of emotions that we got out, and we came in the next week and we worked hard. And again, we fell short against Evangel, had some struggling there. We just didn't adjust quick enough, and we've all acknowledged that. And we've moved forward, and we've made a lot of adjustments recently, which is very exciting for this coming up game. So.
Jaden, let me ask you a similar question to Jagger. I want to get you to talk about the highest moment for you of y'all's season. Obviously going 10-0, winning big games. Talk about the highest moment, and then talk about the lowest moment, and just maybe something you learned from both of them.
Yes, sir. I'd say the highest moment of our season, to me, in my opinion, is winning the game of the week, Downs Law game of the week against a big rivalry, Prairie View Academy, back home. It was a huge game. We prepared for 2 weeks for them while we was preparing for another team, so we was pretty set on winning that game right there. We went into it, came out with a big win, and that was the highlight of my season. And the low light, it would be getting disqualified from the playoffs. But I mean, it's all happens for a reason. We're here playing for a national championship, and I'm grateful.
All right, so you're on the. Obviously, you guys had an 8-hour trip, right?
Yes, sir.
You stop at the gas station. What's the go-to? What are we getting on the road trip?
At the gas station. I'm gonna put you on right here. You gotta get.
All right.
You gotta get the icy, the blue and red icy, with a pack of Haribo gummy worms. That's
Gummy
it.
worms in the
No,
in
no,
the
no,
icy. Okay, just the two of them. Okay,
yes,
all right. So nothing savory. Everything's sweet.
Yeah, just regular.
Okay,
Yes,
all
sir.
right. All right, fair. Jagger, what do we got?
That sounds like something my twin would do. He's a little more wild than me. I can't do that. I just go in there. I get a Snickers and probably some M&Ms or something. I'm more of a chocolate guy. And I don't even know about that drink. Probably just an energy drink, maybe a Ghost or something. You know, Powerade, Body Armor. I'm pretty simple. So
There you go. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, one last thing for the coaches. I want you to, Coach Scott, talk about something specific that maybe you're trying to work on getting ready to play River Oaks.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to trade this, so it's going to
Okay,
be a
so
level
it's
playing
gotta
field.
be honest, right? Okay.
Got to
so
be honest.
Gotta be honest. So we're going to go through walkthroughs, it's probably the answer he gets a lot. But obviously, we got to get ready for the big guy, and we haven't faced anybody like that. You know, Vanjo's got one big guy, but he's not that caliber guy. So we haven't worked. I may be exposing too much here, but hey, we haven't worked on double teaming. Yeah. Okay, it's something we haven't done.
I'm sure that's something Coach Barton has not heard about
He
at
hasn't
all
had
this
that
year.
at all season. So it's, hey, surprise, somebody's going to double team you, bro. But but yeah, we've got to do that. Coach Sean Sermon is our offensive line coach, and I talked to him actually earlier last week, and I'm like, Coach, we got to start working on double teams. And he's like, what? We don't need a double team. And because we're pretty confident in our guys. We got some great guys. I mean, we got at center, got Gabe Finney. He's a tall, skinny kid. He's had 2 bad snaps the entire season, and but he's tough and he gets after it. And so we were like, no, we're not. No, we are. We're going to work on the double team, and figure out how to get to this guy. We got to get to this guy somehow. We got to shake him up, get him moving, and that's kind of the plan.
Coach Barton, I'm going to ask you, what's something you're working on to get ready for Southern Christian?
Jagger, what number are you? 15. They got some great players over there, but I think their strength is their offensive line, and pretty impressed with what they do up there and how they do it. And but Jagger does a great job of directing things and getting things where they need to be. And look, Coach may call the play that way, and Jagger may take it that way for 60. So they do a great job, and but everything runs through 15.
What are you guys having for dinner tonight?
You know what? That's something I don't know. We brought a guy that cooks for us.
So y'all are eating as a team. You just don't know what
Yes,
you're
sir.
having.
We're eating as a team.
I didn't know if you were
Look,
letting everybody go get a meal or something.
We've had chicken sandwiches. We've had today. What do we have? Mexican tacos. We got a guy over there that does a great job of that and loves to cook, and so I think it may be some kind of chicken Alfredo or something tonight. But I'm not 100% sure.
Coach Scott, what about you guys? What's for dinner?
So this is really putting me on the spot here, and we've got like 5 ladies that are working really hard, and I'm gonna bomb this one so bad. I'm gonna bomb it so bad.
But you guys are eating as a team tonight.
We are.
Okay,
Now, it was
okay.
supposed to be spaghetti.
Okay.
But then they got together and they said, we need spaghetti for the pregame.
Yeah.
And so I know we've got spaghetti tomorrow for lunch. I have no idea. I'm sorry, ladies. I have no idea what we're eating tonight. So
All right.
We just know it's going to be good, right, Coach?
it's going to be
you go.
good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It'll be great.
There you go. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all, and I'll let you get back to getting ready for tomorrow. Let's give them a hand, guys. Jake, appreciate you. Jagger, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Here you go. I'll take that from you. Coach. Appreciate you. I'll grab it here in a second. Appreciate you. And I asked the dinner question because I was making sure we were obviously this choice determines whether or not we get to eat tonight and where we eat. So, all right. And we'll do this too. All right, Southern Christian, come on, let's hear you. Yeah, that's what I thought. Do we have any River Oaks people in here other than 3? Okay, all right. Well, then let me get a little bit of help. All right. Oh, all right, so you got Southern Christian, right? And they took down the number 1 team in the CFA. They took down the number 2 team in the AISA. I don't even know if this is going to fit. They took down, well, they had the 1-point loss to East Central. They played hard against Evangel, obviously, beat Ezekiel, had some good wins, right? So, and they handled business yesterday. It was a shutout. Easily I didn't even get to really watch the game, and I knew that they handled business. So, that being said, River Oaks was 10-0 this year in a really good region, a really good competition. They should have come into this tournament. They should be in their playoffs. All right. So, give me this camera right here. You got it, Alex? All right, River Oaks. If you're watching this, I'm not picking you guys. I'm going to go Pat McAfee. Give me Alabama! Yeah! Now I get to try and take this off. Please hold. Okay. There we go. All right. So, I'm going to give this to Coach Scott. Whose helmet is that? Dude, you need some Febreze in that or something. Whose helmet is this? What number? See, this is how you treat a helmet. Doesn't smell that bad. Good Lord. All right. So that is River Oaks School and the Southern Christian Patriots. They'll be playing for the Division II championship tomorrow, 4 p.m. You'll be able to watch it right here on our YouTube channel. But now I'd like to talk about the Division I championship. It's 2 teams that have played for it before. Now the team they played is not here. So first time that they've played in this environment. They've played some similar teams, but they also started the season out. So the season is ending pretty much how it started. I mean, you had the one Tri-Cities Augusta game in Gatlinburg, but pretty much the season's starting how it ends. So at this point, I'd like to welcome up Coach Tim Youmans and his player, and then Coach Kyle Collins and his player. Tyler, what's up, man? How are you, buddy? Oh, y'all just jumped up. Eli, what's up, buddy? Coach Collins, thank you. I appreciate you. Coach Youmans, thank you. Appreciate you. All right. So, Coach Youmans, I'm going to start with you. It should be on right now. Coach Youmans, I'm going to start. Obviously, you guys handled business first round last year. You get to the championship. Starts off well, kind of falls apart a little bit there at the end, or second half. Uh-oh. Coach Collins breaking stuff. All right. So, Coach, I want to ask you, if that situation happens this year, how have you guys prepared for that? Without giving away secrets.
Well, it's not really a secret. We came into this season wanting to prepare a 4 to 5 headed snake, so to speak. We didn't want to rely on one person. We wanted to make sure that our opponent had multiple people to prepare for. Right now we've got 2 guys that rushed more than 1,000 yards. Kyler is right at the brink of it. Hopefully he'll have it by the time he leaves Florida. Got a passing game that we've kind of had hidden. We had to show a little bit yesterday and probably have to show some tomorrow. But we've just tried to add a few extra facets to the game that we had. And that's what we took away from last year. Once Jance got hurt in the championship game, Patrick came in and did an admirable job, but you don't want your first almost start as a freshman to be the national championship game.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
little bit of pressure.
Kyler, let me ask you a little bit about that as well. So you come out of the game last year, it doesn't go the way y'all want it to. You come into this season as a senior. This is your last shot, your last chance. How much of a motivator was that over the offseason in terms of preparing yourself for the season and physically and mentally?
I think losing that game at the end of the season last year really motivated everybody. A lot of these seniors, we've all been playing for about 5 years together, and I think losing that game just kind of flicked a switch in us, and we know how it feels to walk out losing that game, and I don't think we're going to let that happen again.
Coach Collins, let me ask you, you guys have gotten a shot at it before, twice, and maybe it didn't go the way you wanted to. You get that chance again. You get that opportunity again. What are some things you learned from the last two games? I know it's a different opponent, but in terms of you and your team and coaching and managing, what are some things that you've learned from those two games that you could put forth and tomorrow?
Well, the first thing is we don't like to lose the last game of the year, okay? It's a terrible feeling. Everybody knows it. We've been down here 6 or 7 times. We don't have the trophy yet, okay? Second thing I think that I've learned over the years is don't over-prepare. You've been playing, you played 10, 11 games. You are who you are. Don't try to over-prepare. It is really, this football is really not that complicated. You line up, you run your plays. If you execute, you win. If you don't execute, you lose. And so we've tried to do that in years past. And, we've played Evangel a couple of times, and they got horses. And we try to counterbalance those horses. This year, we're taking an attitude of we are who we are. We're either going to go in and we're going to have a great game, we're going to execute well, we're going to be able to win, or we're not.
Eli, let me ask you, obviously getting to come back here and play in the tournament. Had you been down here before? Were you here 2 years ago? Okay. So getting the chance to come back here and play and knowing what your first matchup was with East Central and knowing what they've done this year, what are some things you did mentally, physically, whatever, to prepare for that, especially having played a game 5 days before?
I just eat the right foods and prepare myself. Football's football, so you just play.
What's the best right food that what's the one that's easiest to eat, the right food?
Anything, I don't care. I'm not a picky eater.
Fair enough. Coach Youmans, let me ask you, obviously throughout the season, you guys had played some good teams. You played Northside 11-man. You played JDA. G6 is a good team. You guys played some good teams, and most of them you handled business. But then how do you prepare for a tournament like this where you know that, like last night, you guys got in a dogfight. You get into the first quarter, you're down. You've got to claw back. What's the message that you're giving your guys in terms of, hey, we're getting ready to – is it just that, hey, we're getting ready to play some really good teams that are also at the top of their game? Or what are you telling your guys?
Well, unlike in years past, we've either been in previous years, we've either been a first half team or a second half team. This year, we've done both, and it's why I'm bald. You never know what you're going to get when you go with these guys. And
Kyler's got enough hair for you.
He's got enough hair for both of us. But our senior class has played together for 5 years at a minimum. And they constantly tell us, we got to coach. The problem is they're right 90% of the time, and they do have it the 90% of the time. It's the other 10% of the time that just kills me. Yeah. But when we're coming into this tournament, I think all 4 teams in this bracket were evenly matched. Yep. Looking at freedom to us is like looking in the mirror. We've got the same color scheme. We've got basically the same lineup. If you look at the players, we've got stout middle line or 2 stout linebackers on both sides.
The makeups of the teams is incredible.
Makeups of the team are very similar. And the fact that the games were as close as they were in the first round yesterday, it was no surprise. So we've kind of been practicing against freedom all year, and I'm sure they feel like they've kind of been practicing against us. And I think the first game up in Gatlinburg this year tells you just how close this game is going to be. It came down to a 2-point conversion that was stripped at the 1-yard line.
Yeah. And the fact that it was 14-12 on a 100 by 53, two teams
Yes.
playing 8-man, just shows you how close the matchup is, because
Yes.
sometimes that's the difference.
In August,
Right, in August.
when
Yeah.
everybody's cramping.
Yeah. Kyler, let me ask you, you guys get into the game yesterday, and it's going the way it is. You guys are down. Who's speaking up the most, and maybe it's you, but who's speaking up the most in terms of the players and your teammates, and what are they saying?
I think it's mainly the 4 captains that are always on the field, me, Cameron, Jansen, Sean. You know, we were down, and we're not panicking. We're not freaking out that we're down. We're telling everybody to stay calm, and we're telling them we got it. We just got to keep staying calm and keeping our composure. And I think the main thing that we always do is we talk to each other, we communicate. Coach McNulty's always saying communicate. Once we get that down, once we keep everybody calm, we usually get a handle on everything that we need to get a handle on.
Coach Collins, let me ask you, you go through the season and you know, you play some good teams, and so you played South Haven, one of the top teams in the conference, but you didn't get a chance to play a team like the Heat. You got to play them in the championship, got to win, had to come back in that one. You get in the game yesterday. It's a dogfight against a good team. What are you telling the guys in a game like yesterday or in a game like Saturday when you know it's down to the wire and then one mistake can be the difference in the game?
Our team this year has a good character, and they are not over the top, and they don't get too low when things don't go our way. That's good. You know, I doubt I've got anything to do with it. I think it's more their mothers and fathers has got something to do with it. Yeah. We went through a stretch at the end of the season where our competition wasn't, you know, that good. Yeah. And then we got in the playoffs, and all of a sudden we were woken up that we got to play to a certain level. We were challenged early with PAC up in Gatlinburg. We had a couple of challenges along the way. So basically the message is real simple again. Effort, execute, and aggression. And if you do those threes and you win those 3 things on every play, you win the game. So every time we've gotten behind, it has been because of one of those 3 things. We've not performed at it. So I remind them they're good at listening, and they're good at reacting to that. I just remind them, hey, you've got this. As he said, let's settle down. Let's win the 3 things that we have to win.
Eli, let me ask you, to have a group of guys like Logan, like Jalen, yourself, and guys who are leaders on the team and have been through stuff the last couple of years, and all you guys coming up through there. How encouraging is it to get to go through these battles with them? And then at the same time, what are some of the things that are being said amongst that group when you guys get in these dogfights?
Well, having like Jalen Ventro on your team when you're down makes you feel a little better. So that's always helpful. And Logan. Yeah. And the message, I'm not saying some of the stuff, but we're definitely making sure we're in each other's ears, but also make sure they're okay and stuff.
Coach Youmans, let me ask you. I asked Coach Barton and Coach Scott this question, but for you coming up and coaching, and what was one of the biggest influences to you? Who were the biggest influence to you, and what's the best piece of advice you got?
Probably the biggest influence at this level was Alan Glayton. He was the head coach before I took over with PAC. He brought the first PAC team down 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was 2018. We did not have a successful trip. I mean, we made it down and back, but that was about it. Had a couple of guys in the hospital, and it was an interesting experience. But Alan, he's a National Guard guy, and he, through his actions, always reminded me to care more about the players than the plays. We recently lost, in the offseason, we lost a player who was on our team probably 3 years ago, and he had some struggles. And when we lost him, Alan, he called me and he was in tears. Yeah. And this is a couple of years after the player left the team. But football is just a means to an end. It's a way to get to the kids, to get to know them, where they are, yeah, and to help along with their parents to guide them. And it hurts when you don't reach all of them. Yeah. And it's just caring about the kids. Football is going to end for everybody one day. It ended for you, it ended for me, it ended for Kyle. It's going to end for these guys, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's 4 years from now in college, or whether it's somebody making it to the league. But it's the lessons you learn from the game that you carry with you through life. And to me, it's about caring about people.
Kyler, let me ask you, again, I asked the players beforehand. Let me get you to talk about the highest moment of the season for you, the lowest moment, and what are some things you learned from both of them?
I think the highest moment of the season was obviously beating Freedom, and then going and beating the first four teams they were supposed to be tough. We had two 11-man teams that were supposed to be tough, and we had JDA right after Freedom. I think those 4 games were our highest moments, and the lowest moment was obviously losing that 12-14 game to Northside on their homecoming. And I think what we took from that was obviously we made mistakes that game. We weren't set for that second we needed to be set, and it cost us 2 touchdowns that could have won us the game. And same thing with that 2-point conversion that would have tied the game up and took it into overtime. We didn't get set. We didn't stay calm. We were trying to go fast, and that's what lost us the game at the end of the day.
When you talk about the first 4 games of the season, winning games that were tough, or maybe that even people thought you wouldn't, was there something you were able to learn from the wins? I know it's easier to learn from the losses than wins, but was there something you learned from the wins?
I think the thing we learned most from the wins were how elusive we are, because going to 8-man and then jumping to 2 11-man games back-to-back and putting up eggs on both 11-man teams, I think that's pretty elusive for an 8-man team to be able to do that and then jump right back into an 8-man game the next week.
Coach Collins, let me ask you, same question I asked Coach Youmans. Who was the biggest influence on you coming up in coaching, and what's the best piece of advice you got?
Well, I never was going to be a coach. So the influences in my life from a coaching standpoint are irrelevant. I wake up one day in a bad part of my life. A guy asked me to come out and watch his team practice. Out of courtesy to him, I go. I tell him a few things afterwards. He says, "Can you come back tomorrow and help me with that?" One day turns into two days turns into 20 years. So my biggest influence in coaching has been God. God reached down when I was in a bad time and said, even though Satan has told you have no voice anymore, I'm about to show you what kind of voice you have. Put me in a position of leadership as a head coach of an organization that I didn't even know existed. It had only been in existence about 8 months. And every night, my prayer is really simple. God, what do you want me to teach these kids tomorrow? To Tim's point, football is just the vehicle. Yep. And so the influence, look, I'm not a very good coach. I'm not an X and O guy. I don't know how to scheme it up. What I hope I can do is instill and inspire some young men to rise above who they think they are, or even who they know they are, to play the game at the way it's supposed to be played. Because to Tim's point, I've told them this story. I'll tell you this story. 40 years past my career, I go to a funeral of a person's wife who we played high school football together. Yeah. I want all y'all to hear this too. After the funeral, about 12 of us who played together are sitting around at his table at his house. And guess what we're talking about? We're talking about high school football. having played at the college level and got a cup of coffee at the NFL, there's nothing that you will love more throughout your life than high school football. It's still the greatest institution in America. Of course, now y'all wanting to do instant replay, and you're about to run it, but it's still the greatest institution in America. Long answer to a short question. I'm really not a coach. I guess I'm more of a pastor than I am a coach.
Fair enough. Eli, I'm going to ask you, talk about the highest moment that you had this year, talk about the lowest moment, and what you learned from both of them.
I think being able to come back and win after losing the PAC the first game is a good get back into the shift of things. That was probably our highest point. Lowest point was definitely losing to them in the first game of the season, and having that close game against Evangel was definitely not fun. Yeah. And learning from the Evangel loss, we just learned that we're not invincible. After coming back 5 wins, I think, in a row, playing that team, knowing it was a good team, we had to learn that special teams was also a problem, but we fixed that easy enough.
All right, so you guys had about a 6-hour drive, 5-6 hour drive. You hit the gas station. What are you going for? Because you got the Buc-ee's right there by you.
Sour Skittles, a cheeseburger,
What are we drinking?
Powerade.
There you go. There you go. Kyler, what about you?
We stopped at the Buc-ee's. I obviously got the brisket sandwich, and then I got a Monster. So
There you go.
keep me up on the drive and keep my stomach full.
There you go. Coach Youmans, last time I mentioned it, you guys played first game of the year for both of you in Gatlinburg, huge stage, and you kind of knew what each other had, but, it's first game of the year. No one knows if there's a wrinkle or something. At this point, you guys have played enough. You know everything about them, right? You've seen quite a bit of their film. You've talked to people who have played them. What's something that you're getting ready for to play them? What's something that you're preparing for?
Yes, please tell me.
2 words: Logan and Jalen. If we can't control the action of the linebackers, we're going to have a long day. It's interesting. The 14-12 game that they lost, that was our same score at Northside. Yeah. Lost it the same way. Last second 2-point conversion that we succeeded the first time, but got called back. Would have sent it to overtime. So we know the heartbreak. But yeah, if we can't prepare for that, we're going to have problems. We are who we are. You can look at our stats and you can tell what we do. There's nothing funky or tricky about us. And but if we can't find a way to get that crease made between those 2 linebackers, it's gonna be a long day.
All right, we got to level the playing field. Coach Collins, what's something you're getting ready for to play them?
Steroids. We started on them last night, heavy. No, yeah. Listen, the bottom line is this. It's going to be a physical game. We got to match their physicality. We've got to be able to execute at a high level on both offense and defense. Tim knows this. There's no magic to what's going to happen tomorrow night. We're going to line up, we're going to spit in each other's face, and we're going to say, let's go play for 48 minutes of football, okay? And it'll take 48 minutes. Yeah. And so we've really not planned anything, as I said earlier. We didn't know we was going to play it, but we figured we might. It's been a long time since we played. Hopefully we're better, and hopefully y'all aren't. And we'll see how it works out.
All right, fair enough. Well, coaches, I appreciate you guys. Kyler, Eli, thank you very much. Coach Collins, thank you. Eli, appreciate you. All right. All right, so here's the thing, right? I picked Southern Christian, and you would think, oh, he's not going to pick 2 Alabama teams. He bleeds orange. Well, see, here's the thing about it. For those that don't know, I'm a conference commissioner. I run this SEEC in Tennessee, the Southeastern Extreme Conference. These guys are our conference champions, 3 years running, right? It would be really tough to pick against them, right? It's just, but you know, on this side, whose helmet is this? Why is there tape on it? Okay, all right. Oh, I like that. It says, "Hey, man, Jesus loves." That's awesome. Where's he at? Where's he at? I love it, dude. I love it. I love it. They say it's hard to beat a good team twice. These guys won the first matchup, right? Conference champions. Handled business. Played some 11-man games, something Freedom didn't do this year. Won some 11-man games, lost some close ones. And see, here's the thing. I've got to drive back through the state of Alabama. And Southern Christians in the south, Freedoms in the north. I think I can be pretty safe. But unfortunately, I don't do a lot of safe things, so I'm picking PAC. Let's go! This helmet smells good. The helmet smells good. All right. So, those two teams are going to be playing for the Division I championship tomorrow, 7 p.m. Right here on our YouTube channel is where you can watch it. Spencer and Eli will have the call for both the games, by the way. But I want to give a big thank you to Coach Scott, Coach Barton, Coach Collins, and Coach Youmans, Kyler, Eli, Jaden, and Jagger for coming today. All the people in the crowd who came for the show. This is always awesome. The Extreme Talk throughout the season, I do it in a studio by myself. It's audio only, so it's really cool to get to do a live audience show. But appreciate all of you guys for tuning in and watching. For the whole crew, Will, Eleanor, Kate, Eli, Theodore, Alex, Spencer's somewhere, but as well as my beautiful wife. I want to thank you guys for watching, and obviously tune in tomorrow. We'll have 4 games for you. I know there's some college games on. They're not that great until about 6 o'clock, and even then it's Tennessee, Georgia. Just put it on another screen and watch Tennessee win. So thank y'all so much for tuning in, and Theodore, I'm going to let you take us out.